As I celebrated my birthday alone in the old family cabin, a sense of unease settled over me. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows, and the wind outside seemed to whisper my name. A knock on the door startled me. Opening it, I found no one. The forest was silent, shrouded in darkness. Back inside, an antique music box sat on the table, a gift wrapped in black ribbon. Curiosity gripped me, and I wound it up. The haunting melody filled the room. Mesmerized, I watched as figures appeared in the shadows, shadowy forms dancing in macabre harmony. Panic surged. I tried to shut the music box, but it wouldn't close. The figures twirled faster, and the room grew colder. I fled outside, pursued by echoing laughter. In the moonlight, I glimpsed silhouettes of past celebrants, their faces contorted in horror. I stumbled back into the cabin, and the music box snapped shut. The wind whispered sinister secrets, revealing that each melody extracted a birthday from the living to join the dance.
As I walked into the grand ballroom, anticipation mingled with unease. The chandeliers cast flickering shadows, and the air felt heavy. The guests wore frozen smiles, their eyes void of life. The orchestra played a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. I approached a mirror-lined hallway drawn by a distant whisper. My reflection beckoned, but something was wrong. It was grinning wider than I was. I stumbled back, but a cold force pulled me closer. The mirror swallowed me, and I found myself in a distorted realm. In this nightmarish reflection, the guests danced with a feverish frenzy, their movements grotesque and unnatural. Their laughter was a discordant symphony of madness. The orchestra's instruments writhed like living entities playing on their own. I tried to escape, but the hallway extended infinitely. Whispers surrounded me, promising eternal revelry. My reflection appeared again, its grin splitting its face, and it reached out with elongated fingers. I fled, but the hallway pursued me, changing reality. The orchestra's music followed, growing louder and more distorted. The guests closed in, their hollow eyes fixated on me. As the nightmare consumed me, I realized I was now a permanent guest at this terrifying birthday party. As I celebrated my 50th birthday with friends and family, a sense of foreboding lingered beneath the surface. The cheerful atmosphere couldn't dispel the unease I felt. As the clock struck midnight, the lights flickered, plunging us into darkness. A chilling wind swept through the room, extinguishing the candles. Whispers echoed, growing louder until they seemed to fill the air. The mirror on the wall shattered, revealing a shadowy figure within. Panic rippled through the crowd as the figure stepped out, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. One by one, the guests vanished, swallowed by the darkness. The figure's laughter echoed as it drew closer, its form shifting and contorting. I stumbled backward, seeking an exit. The walls seemed to close in, twisting and distorting like a nightmare. A door materialized, revealing a corridor of mirrors that reflected twisted versions of reality. Desperation pushed me forward as the figure's laughter echoed behind me. In each reflection, I saw fragments of my life, distorted and grotesque. I reached the end of the corridor, where a mirror stood alone. My reflection grinned back, its features twisted into a grotesque mockery. With a bone-chilling smile, it reached out, fingers elongating into inky tendrils. I was pulled into the mirror, consumed by the darkness. As my 17th birthday approached, excitement bubbled within me. My parents promised a unique celebration in our old farmhouse, tucked away from the world. The house exuded a mysterious charm, its history whispered among the locals. On the eve of my birthday, a thunderstorm raged outside. As the clock struck midnight, the power went out, casting the house into darkness. Candles flickered, creating dancing shadows that seemed to come alive. Laughter erupted, but it wasn't ours. A spectral party manifested before us, ghostly figures in vintage attire waltzing to an ethereal tune. Fear gnawed at my excitement. The legends of the haunted farmhouse echoed in my mind. The ghostly dance continued, growing more frenzied. The air turned icy, and the room trembled with an otherworldly energy. As the clock struck 3 a.m., the figures froze mid-dance, their hollow eyes locking onto me. With a blood-curdling scream, I extinguished the candles. In the darkness, the room felt suffocating, as if the spirits were inches away. My friends pleaded with me to leave, but the front door slammed shut, sealing us in. Whispers spiraled, overlapping in a haunting chorus. The walls seemed to close in, their faded wallpaper warping into grotesque faces. Panic surged, and the air grew thick with malevolence. We ventured upstairs, drawn to a locked room that pulsed with an ominous aura. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, a worn journal lay open on a dusty desk. Its pages told a tragic tale of a party gone awry decades ago, a night that had become a nightmare. A voice echoed through the room, recounting the tale with chilling clarity. As the last word was spoken, the journal burst into flames, illuminating the room in an eerie glow. The ghostly figures reappeared, eyes filled with anguish. I realized that we were reliving the tragic party's final moments, trapped in a loop of supernatural torment. With every retelling, their torment grew stronger, and our fear fed their anguish. As the flames consumed the journal, time resumed its course. The ghostly figures charged towards us, their wails filling the room. With a surge of courage, I grabbed a forgotten candlestick and smashed it against the burning journal. The room quaked, and the figures dissipated, their anguished cries fading into silence. The walls returned to their normal state, and the front door swung open. Morning light spilled into the house. We stumbled outside, shaken but alive. The farmhouse stood as before, in silent.